So the third part of the exercise has you develop a fully articulated rationale for your vision. Now, there's a bunch of reasons for that. One is, you know, if you're having a discussion with someone, I can tell you how the typical discussion about something important goes. If you're having a conflict with someone, it's usually someone close to you, like a person in your family. You know, you'll bring up something they don't want to hear. Okay, so then they'll tell you 2 or 3 reasons why that's actually your fault and not theirs. And if you can, and sometimes that'll set you right back on your heels. It's the end of the discussion, especially if they're quite emphatic and maybe aggressive about it. If you can get past that and engage in the discussion and start to get somewhere, well then they'll usually get angry at you. And then past that, they'll cry. And then past that, you can have a discussion. But in order to get to the point where you can actually have a discussion, you have to have your arguments set up like soldiers behind you. And so if you want to move towards a particular goal, you're going to run into impediments, and some of those impediments will be other people, and the voices in your own head for that matter. And the more deeply you have your rationale for what you want articulated, the more potent you are as a fighter for your own destiny, so to speak. And so the third part of the exercise asks you to think deeply about why it is that the future you want is important. And not only to you, because of course it's important that it's important to you, but also what effect moving towards the future that you actually think would be best for you, what effect that would have on your friends and your family and society at large, because those things also have to be taken into consideration when you're constructing what you might regard as your destiny. And so these are very, very important things to get right. And one of the things that's really remarkably pathological about our current education system is that this sort of thing isn't done more regularly, because I can't imagine, since you know you're all university students, there's absolutely nothing more important than you can possibly do than to spend some genuine time contemplating who it is that you want to be as you expand yourself throughout life. You know, there should be whole courses devoted to that. And there isn't, and there's weird reasons for that, which I'll get into later. But this gives you an opportunity to think, all right, maybe I could have what would be best for me, which by the way is different than what I want. Maybe I could have what would be best for me if I knew what it was and I was actually aiming at it. And my experience has been, like, I've watched people for many, many years in all sorts of different situations and over very long periods of time, because I've had a clinical practice for more than 20 years now, and I can tell you that if you know what you're aiming at, there's a pretty decent chance you can get it. And if you don't know what you're aiming at, then God only knows where you're going to end up, and it will not be a happy place. So it's very much useful to put some thought into this and to consciously take hold of and articulate what it is that you want for a destiny. And there's no reason to assume that you can't achieve it. You know, you're all smart, or you wouldn't be here. And you're all reasonably hardworking, or maybe extremely hardworking, or you wouldn't be here. And a good chunk of you are probably creative. So, you know, you have as good a chance of attaining what you could be as anyone. And so, you know, I would say dream realistically, you know, or maturely. That would be a better way of thinking about it. But also don't be afraid to be ambitious about what you want, because, you know, the world's full of possibility, and there's no necessary reason that you can't make use of that possibility. And I can tell you as well that you better make use of it, because although I'm sure you know this to some degree, some of you do anyways, life hits you hard and tragically multiple times throughout your existence, and no one escapes from that. And so the problem with that, apart from the fact that it's painful and anxiety provoking, is that it can make you bitter. And once you're bitter, you're a dangerous person and a miserable person. And so the only way to protect yourself against that happening is to have the kind of life that's rich enough and meaningful enough so that you can take the blows and accept it, because there's no way you can escape from the blows. They're an inevitable part of life. So your life better be rich enough so that you think, okay, well, on balance, the price I pay for being alive is worth it.